As of Monday, May 2nd, an arrest warrant has been issued for Vicky Sue White, who is an assistant director of corrections in Alabama. The warrant is for facilitating the escape of a capital murder suspect, Casey Cole White. They were last seen on Friday around 9:40 a.m. Director White transported a suspect from the jail to a supposed mental health evaluation at the Lauderdale County Courthouse. Investigators discovered later that there was no evaluation scheduled. By 3:30 in the afternoon, they were aware that Vicky was missing, as well as the suspect. It is now believed that she facilitated in his escape. The U.S. Marshals have issued a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to the arrest of Vicky or of Casey. Hey, everybody, and welcome to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Excellent.
I'm having lots of fun with my new crystal shop, and I don't know, it's a very interesting week in the true crime world, I gotta say.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
stuff going on right now that I'm like, whew, like this case you're covering today. It's so weird.
Oh, it's just a really heavy energy week, too.
It is. Yeah, it is. And just like, I'm a little concerned about people that are slightly on the edge might be even further on the edge.
Yeah.
Feels that way, doesn't it?
Tensions are high. Yep, for sure. Very prickly week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very good. Well, this is our Wednesday case.
Yes, it is.
And we're bringing a story to you guys that is, started playing out last Friday. But full disclosure, we're recording on Monday. And so it's possible that this case, maybe they'll be found by Wednesday. And if so, we'll update it in the case updates. But we are recording a little, we're taking a chance and recording a little ahead of the game. So we'll see, it could happen. If it does, we'll update it. But before we get into that case, we have other segments to jump into. So we'll do that first. So Kristi,
Right.
I'm going to kick the mic over to you for a brand new segment here in True Crime Paranormal. I was going to say the True Crime World, but I think it's True Crime Paranormal. This is the True Crime Update.
Yes. The JonBenet Ramsey case is one of the most famous unsolved true crime cases out there. Everybody knows JonBenet's name. I'm showing you a picture of her right now, but you don't even need it because everybody knows what this cute little blonde sweetheart looks like. But there has been a pretty interesting action on the part of JonBenet's dad.
Mm-hmm.
So JonBenet's mother passed away. JonBenet's dad, John Ramsey, however, is still fighting for answers in the murder of his daughter, JonBenet Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
And he has announced that he's starting a petition to petition Governor Jared Polis in Colorado to allow an independent agency to do some DNA testing. In this case, rather than the Boulder Police Department. Now, we know Boulder done fucked up on this case.
Oh, they did.
The initial investigation was not good. They did not protect the scene. It was contaminated in lots and lots of ways. And, it's been a problem for a long time and is probably why this case has become unsolvable. So John Ramsey, his latest move is, let's see, here's what he told Fox News Digital. It's a petition to hopefully get the state of Colorado to intervene and have the items from the crime scene that could be tested for DNA that haven't been tested. So he specifically wants DNA evidence sent out to an independent agency, not run through the Boulder police.
Mm-hmm.
John also says it's going to take a lot of help to get that moving again, right? But you know, the
Mm-hmm.
government is very reactive, and we're talking about politicians. We want them to do the right thing. Now, he
Mm-hmm.
made this announcement at CrimeCon 2022 in Las Vegas on
Yeah.
Saturday, which I thought was rather interesting.
Yeah. Wants to get the public charged up and put a little pressure on there. Yeah.
Right. He's got 1,700 signatures on the petition already. But you know, Boulder police are guaranteeing that they're looking at new DNA techniques to run on the JonBenet case. I mean, it might be time for Boulder police to just step out, really.
Mm-hmm.
This one statement made with the governor's office says the state will review the petition and look into how the state can assist in using new technology to further investigate this cold case and to identify JonBenet Ramsey's killer and bring him or her to justice.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big, long response from Boulder police, which I'm not going to share because, you know, it's too little too late, Boulder police. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Yeah.
I agree with John Ramsey. Why not get some fresh eyes? Why not test some things that haven't been tested? Why not go to the very best of the best? And then why not send that DNA information through the genealogical DNA pathways? You know, there's
Totally.
lots of stuff that can happen here. So, really curious to see what does happen.
But also, why doesn't the Boulder police champion that? Why don't they say, please do? Yes, we could use the help. We'd appreciate it.
It
Let's
would
do it.
Right. It would be the right thing to do, but all
Mm-hmm.
along they've done their best to try to make up for the fact that they really screwed up at the beginning, but they don't really take responsibility for that either. You know,
No.
they do say that they've, you know, worked on this case forever and that they're still working on it and they still see it as a tragedy and it's something that they want to solve and blah, blah, blah. But what they don't say is, yes, we screwed up. We should
Mm-hmm.
probably hand this to someone else. Let's just make sure. They don't say that.
No.
So we'll see what
And
the
it's the
governor
very
does.
thing that needs to be said.
Yeah, it is. And you know, I feel like at this point there is so much public pressure around this particular case that
Yeah.
I would be surprised if the governor turns this down. I will
I
suspect
would
that
too.
that they'll do it. That they'll get
Yeah.
somebody else involved and you know,
Well, since the Boulder PD can't control their ego, the governor's just going to have to do it for them.
I think so, because at this point, what matters is solving the death of this child,
Yeah.
not saving face for Boulder PD, which frankly that's too little too late at this point. You know,
100%.
yeah. So anyway, that is my true crime update. Found it very interesting.
Okay.
So I'm going to kick the mic back to you for the main case.
Okay. Well, of course, we are talking today about the Vicky White, Casey White disappearance. So I'm going to back up to the beginning. On Friday, late afternoon, the police department made a statement, the Lauderdale Police Department or Sheriff's Office, in Alabama made a statement that one of their correctional officers was missing with a suspect who is being charged with a capital crime. And initially, it looked like perhaps she had been taken hostage, kidnapped, that something nefarious had happened to Vicky. They could not fathom really anything else.
Right.
Vicky worked there for 25 years. She was an assistant director. She had a ton of accolades under her belt. She was beloved.
Everybody's favorite supervisor. She would win the Supervisor of the Year awards, which I got to say, I mean, that in itself is a feat.
Yeah. It's easy to make everyone hate you, but
it's a lot harder to
make
be
them love
the
you.
Favorite supervisor.
Yeah. And yet she did. And so, so nobody really at the beginning, they didn't want to believe that there could be anything nefarious going on here. And yet, the evidence started to mount. And it started looking more and more like perhaps Vicky was actually in on this escape, which leads to the question, was there a romantic relationship here?
Right.
Initially, the sheriff's office said maybe there was a threat against someone that she loved. Maybe this was, something more than what we think, right? It's also looking less and less like that now.
I mean, the coordination that she has done, and that all of it is her.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know.
Yep. There was a press conference this morning that unpacked it quite well. We aren't going to watch the whole thing, but I do want to share a portion of it. I'm going to share about 3 minutes of it, and then I'll bring you up to speed. It's 20 minutes long and it's tedious. So, but there are a few things that I think are worthwhile for us to hear. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up.
All right, I've got 10:30, so we'll get started. First of all, I want to thank all of you in the media for the assistance that you've been to the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office as we've tried to locate Casey White and our Assistant Director, Vicky White. You've been a tremendous asset to us, and we appreciate you helping us get the word out. I also want to thank our partners, our federal and state partners. The U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force has taken the lead in trying to locate the White, and they're doing a tremendous job. They've gone over and above and working diligently, basically around the clock, to try to locate Casey White and Vicky White. We also have the assistance of the FBI, ATF, and Secret Service. On the state level, we have the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency assisting us. So we've got plenty of resources. These federal agencies and state agencies have resources that we don't have. They've made all those resources available to us, and we're utilizing everything we have and have access to in this search. I do have a little new information to pass to you. I know that we've been talking over the last few days about us canvassing video surveillance in the area where the patrol car was found last Friday afternoon. We did have one success in that. We see the patrol car parked at the intersection of Huntsville Road and Cox Creek Parkway, which is about 2 blocks from the location it was found. That video was time stamped at 9:49 a.m. Director White and Casey White left the detention center at 9:41 a.m. So that's 8 minutes time span. What that tells us is that the patrol car left the detention center and went straight to the parking lot. There was not enough time for them to even attempt to try to come to the courthouse and then get out there and be at that red light 8 minutes later. So the direction of travel was from the courthouse, from the detention center directly out Huntsville Road to Cox Creek and then to the Florence Square shopping parking lot. The other thing that I want to make you aware of today is that we have had a warrant issued for Director Vicky White. The charges are permitting or facilitating an escape in the first degree. That's Alabama Code 13A 2034. So there is an active warrant out for Miss White, obviously for Casey White. So we're in hopes that we'll get some much needed breaks here in the next few hours, few days, that will help us locate them and get them back here to Lauderdale County and get Casey White, especially behind bars. Casey White, as you've heard me say over and over, is an extremely dangerous person, and we need to get him located and get him off the street. So again, thank you for all your help in that. At this time, I want to issue to the U.S. Marshal for the Northern District of Alabama, Marty Keeley. Marty.
Okay, I think I'll leave it right there, though I will link it into the case description so that you guys can watch the entire press conference if you want to. I want to do a couple of things. I want to give you some background on Casey White and why they say he is such a dangerous individual.
Right.
But I also would like to just finish up. I'm going to wrap up some of the details from the rest of the press conference that have been released that I think are very interesting to note. Vicky sold her house 2 weeks ago for $95,000.
Cash?
I don't know. She also was retiring, and Friday was the date of her retirement.
That was her last day?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And there was supposed to be a party. Some of the staff members were trying to put together a little retirement party for her, and they were told to hold off because she needed to transport an inmate first.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the
Wow.
last they have seen of her.
That is some damning extra information. And the fact that they drove directly to that shopping center,
Mm-hmm.
there is no
Yep.
question now that
Yep.
she wasn't involved. She obviously orchestrated this thing. Oh
Yep.
boy.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So she had bought herself some time because she had said that she was taking him to a mental health evaluation, dropping him off with deputies at the courthouse, and then she was going to the doctor because she wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
And so I think that she was hoping that would just buy her a little of, extra time, thinking that, okay, she's going to be gone a while and then she'll come back and whatever.
Mhm.
But, none of that was true. There were no appointments scheduled. So,
But it sure worked. I mean, they didn't really verify that they were missing until 3:30 in the afternoon, so they got a big head start.
they had about 6 hours. Yep.
Damn, you can go a lot of places in 6 hours.
In 6 hours, yeah. I had read that they believe they are in her regular car. I kind of doubt it. I
mean,
don't
that
think
would be
Vicky's that stupid.
super stupid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet there's a car that isn't connected to her in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That just doesn't track with, especially being a law enforcement officer. She would know
Yeah.
that they would
That's
catch her in her car quickly.
my thoughts too. So let's talk a little bit about Casey White.
Yeah.
Casey is 38. He is 6'9". Dude's nearly 7 feet tall.
Holy crap. Wow.
Mm-hmm. He's white or white Hispanic. He has hazel eyes, dark hair. However, these wanted posters that went out by the U.S. Marshals are kind of frustrating because this is what he currently looks like.
Yeah, that's what I thought, is that he's currently bald.
In fact, these are the most current pictures of him, where he has a little facial hair, which he may or may not have. So I think it's important to look at both pictures.
Well, and those ears are pretty distinctive.
Yeah, they are. And the tattoo,
got a
he's
long
fully
way.
sleeved on his right arm.
Yep.
And he's nearly 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he'd be tough to miss.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think so too. And that face.
He is chilling.
He's
Those
chilling.
eyes are chilling. Yeah.
But she also, this is the picture that law enforcement has released initially, right? This is her, her official police photo.
This looks younger than she is now, though, doesn't it?
This is what she currently looks like.
Yeah. See, that is a much younger photo, that first one.
It is. It is. So I think it's really important to look at more current pictures of both of them because, frankly, if all I saw was this picture of him with all the hair and the facial hair, I would not recognize him as this.
No, he looks much different with his hair and facial hair gone.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. So, however, it does look like maybe he does have a little beard and goatee going now.
A little bit, yeah, but not so heavy like the U.S. Marshal
No,
picture.
not all that hair. Yeah.
Certainly doesn't have that hair on his head either.
Yeah. I mean, those descriptions, those are really important at this point. The fact that he's that tall, to me, is really important at this point.
Heck yeah, he's going to stand out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about who is this dude, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As we know, he's actually awaiting trial due to the murder of Connie Ridgway. And I'm going to talk about that. But I want to tell you a little bit about the charges he had before that. because he was already in jail for 75 years.
Oh, my God.
He was arrested in December of 2015 for a crime spree that covered 2 counties, one in Alabama, one in Tennessee. It started with an armed home invasion, and 2 vehicles were hijacked at gunpoint. One victim was shot in the arm. That was followed by a chase where speeds of more than 100 miles per hour were reached. It ended with a stolen car stuck in a field south of Huntsville when he was finally arrested.
Mm.
So then after he was arrested, he moved through the court system and, racked up some pretty heavy charges and sentences.
Yeah.
And then wrote a letter and sent it to the police, to the sheriff's office, and admitted to the murder of Connie Ridgway. So who is Connie Ridgway? Well, Connie Ridgway was a lady that lived in Rogersville, Alabama. She's 58 years old, had 2 sons. A lady that was well known in her community as a very, very kind and beloved person. This is Connie and her boys.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened in October of 2015, so just 2 months before the crime spree that put Casey White in prison. So apparently, she was found in her apartment and she had been stabbed to death. And police have been working on this case for a long time. For 3 years at that point. That's a long time to me, but
It is, yeah. Because, I mean, if they don't identify and catch somebody quickly, they might not ever.
Yeah. So, again, she was found stabbed to death in her apartment, and people were just astonished. They still hold a community vigil every October for her. But the case was pretty cold. They have worked and worked and worked it. They have done, as many forensics as they could come up with. The thing about Casey is that he said some things in his letter that nobody knew. He described some things about the crime scene that nobody knew.
Okay.
And so they took that letter and some evidence into a grand jury. And the grand jury said, hell yes. So he was charged with 2 counts of murder, one in the admission of a crime because it was also a burglary, and the other basically amounts to being charged with murder for hire. He claims he was paid to murder Connie. They have, however, been unable to prove that or prove who paid him to murder Connie. But that's the crime that has everyone so up in arms. I mean, he'd already done a bunch of bad shit and was in prison forever. And I don't know what his rap sheet looked like before that, but I'm going to guess that there were some pretty good things already on it.
Oh, I'll bet.
To get that amount of that deep of a sentence that he was not a first-time contestant. There's no way.
No.
But this is the capital case that we're talking about that makes him such a dangerous person is Connie Ridgway. So that's still waving through the courts at this point. And so, of course, enter Vicky. There have been some people who have said anonymously to the Hidden Shoals. The Hidden Shoals is good Lord. It's a blog. It's a blog. I want to call it a blogcast really bad. That's not even a thing. It's a blog. Here's what they said. They said that Vicky had lived her entire adult life either in Rogersville or Lexington, just right in that direct area.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, she'd married a man named Thomas White. He was a carpenter that was 7 years older than her. And they were only married for about 4 years, and she divorced him because of his drug use. However, they stayed good friends, and she was always there to help him if he needed it and help out with his care because he ended up with Parkinson's disease. Well, he died in January. And it was right after he died that she announced that she was ready to retire. So it makes you wonder, was there already something going on here? Is
Mhm.
this an act of grief? And
Some kind of catalyst.
yeah, it
Obviously,
makes you
she's formed
wonder.
some kind of relationship with Casey White.
Hmm. Well,
Why?
Casey returned to the Lauderdale Detention Center just 2 weeks after Tommy died.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he returned there like he'd been there
He's been there
before?
before. Yep.
Okay.
She had known him in the past from being there. Yeah.
So there's history here.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. Which just really makes you wonder. Yeah.
Really does make you wonder what her state of mind is right
Yes,
now, because this is so out of character for her.
it
I
is.
mean, she divorced a man for his drug use,
Right?
and you don't think she'd go on the run from the cops with a suspected murderer. Well,
Right?
really, with a confessed murderer. He has
Yes.
confessed. He's not
Yes.
been convicted yet, but he has confessed of
Yeah.
his own volition. I mean, he sent the police a letter.
Hmm.
Could have said, "Hey, can you come talk to me? I'm in prison. I'm, over in this jail now. So why don't you come? Whatever."
Right.
That's just
Yeah.
that's such a huge character shift.
It is. It's just it's such a huge character shift that you really do have to wonder what in the world is going on in her head.
Yeah.
Especially just because she was an exemplary employee. She was a friend of everyone. I mean, she was a great supervisor.
Well, yeah,
However,
historically. Hmm.
the Hidden Shoals also had said that they had, maybe it wasn't the Hidden Shoals. I think it was, had said that anonymously, some people who have worked with her previously said that
Mhm.
she did have a bit of a history of being a little too friendly with some of the male inmates. And that
Okay.
male inmates that became her favorites in some way would get a little better treatment, maybe a little better positions or,
Mhm.
perks and things like that. And so it sounds like maybe this isn't new behavior as much as the sheriff's department wants to say it is, because obviously they don't want too much egg on their face. The fact that this
No.
happened and no one asked any questions, the fact that a
Yeah.
singular female officer was taking a man that of that size
Alone.
that is charged with a capital crime alone is a huge violation of their own policy, and nobody
Right.
batted an eye, which means that this happens there, you know?
Well, and she's the supervisor over all the transport.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that her employees were like, well, we can't question her. She's the boss.
Hmm. Just makes you wonder how many times she's already done this.
Yes.
I would like to know how many other times she's transported him alone.
Yeah.
And
History of this?
they're not going to say,
Yeah,
they're
they're
not going to
probably
say.
not. Yeah.
But has she transported him alone before to
Mhm.
who knows where? A hotel, her house, some other
Yeah.
no-tell-'em place? I mean, it just
Snuck
makes you
off to
wonder.
something. 'Cause she's the one that would know if there was an evaluation or something, and so you'd think, "Okay, they're not gonna question her. She's
Mhm,
the boss, she's the one who knows." Yeah, she probably has done this before.
mhm.
I mean, not the going on the run, but
Right.
taking an inmate alone like that.
Mhm. Yeah. Sure does make you wonder. So
It
now, of
does.
course, the US Marshals are involved. They have promised a $10,000 reward, which I think is kind of laughable, to be honest,
Yeah,
but
that's not much.
that's not much. That's gonna come way up. But,
Mhm.
for information leading to the arrest of them, they're not in Alabama anymore. They're long gone. They had a
Are you
6-hour
kidding me?
head start.
They could be in Mexico.
It makes you wonder.
It that's my thought is that
I'm guessing
if
she had
she
a armload of cash.
yeah, and has planned this from the very beginning,
Mhm.
knowing, you know,
Mhm.
I don't
Yep.
know, it does make you wonder.
Now they are throwing their best at it, and of course, not only do they really need to get Casey off the streets because he's capable of absolutely anything at this point,
Yes.
but she's the one with the gun and the
She is.
badge, and also obviously will do absolutely anything at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. She's lost her center for sure.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'd blame it on menopause, but she's a little bit old for menopause. Well, we'll see.
I don't know. It is so strange, though, to
Not that
think.
all women in menopause, completely lose their minds, such as this, but
No,
she's really not okay.
she isn't. No, she isn't. Something is. I mean, to have worked in the correctional system for 25 years, she
Mm-hmm.
knows who she's dealing with here.
Mm-hmm.
She's personally taking a huge risk.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell knows? I mean, he's desperate to get out and get away. He's
Yeah.
probably filled her head full of all kinds of bullshit. You
Well, it
know?
seems to me like she's lived a pretty lonely life, a pretty lonely existence.
And it sounds like it.
Mm-hmm. Her ex-mother-in-law, Frances White, is dumbfounded. Said that she's an extremely kind person, a wonderful person, that she would never in a million years suspect of doing something illegal or anywhere near as reckless and wild as this. It's very
Yeah.
shocking to the people who know her.
That's the thing. She's way out of character, even if she's bent the rules over the years. This is
Right.
so much further than that.
This is beyond breaking the rules. This is snapping them in half and throwing them in the incinerator.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, of course, Connie Ridgway's family is very concerned and upset,
Yeah.
because they want justice, for God's sake. And now this fool's on the run.
Yeah.
They waited for 3 years for an arrest, finally got it. And now, because of COVID, it's marched very slowly through the courts. And they're not in a huge hurry because he's already incarcerated forever. So,
Right.
they've got all the time. But at any rate, they are very upset and want justice. And also, everyone wants her back in one piece, At this point, even though she's clearly really screwed up here, her colleagues still really want to see her come back there safe and sound. They're very concerned. She's in an extreme amount of danger. Whether she believes that or not, she is.
She clearly does not see that,
Mhm.
and she's going to prison. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't break an inmate out like that. Oh my gosh, the charge, is it federal charges? I'm not sure, but
I'm not sure.
it's a
But it's
major
bad.
felony. Yeah.
It's really bad. Yep. So that's what we know. Do you have anything to add, or do we pretty much cover the...
I think we pretty much covered it. I'm just amazed at the organization that I mean, this is planned. This wasn't just on a whim. I mean, the selling of the house, the retiring, the setting this up on her last day of work. I mean, it's very much orchestrated. There's no doubt at all in my mind that this was 100% intentional on her part.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm really worried for her because you can't believe anything that he's saying. He's just trying to get out of there. And she may have been sucked in and thinks that he's madly in love with her. But, I think that's unlikely.
Well, especially if she's got a bunch of cash. Think about this. She's got money, she's got a car, and she has a gun.
Yeah. I mean, he could get a lot further away if he just got rid of the police officer that they're looking for that's with her, with him,
Yep.
It's very scary. I do really worry for her safety.
Indeed. Yeah. So there you go. So again, we're recording this episode on Monday. We're hoping that by the time this airs on Wednesday, that these two are in custody. If they are, we'll update the case description, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they had a real good head start. And it sounds like there was probably they knew this, but there were no cameras in the parking lot where they left the car.
Yeah.
Because they've done a big camera sweep and all they found was that one intersection. That's really unfortunate. Because if they had that and could see what they left in, and I mean, there's a lot of information there, but it doesn't sound like they have that.
Yeah. I'm sure she did know. Yeah.
Well, this is all very, very clearly orchestrated by her. I'm sure she made sure.
Yeah.
They were going somewhere with no cameras.
Mm-hmm. You bet. You bet.
Yikes.
Yeah. All righty. Well, Kristi, I am going to kick the mic back over to you for some WTF news.
Right. Well, WTF, you guys. We have talked about quite a few crimes that happened recently in national parks,
Mm-hmm.
reserves, and stuff like that. And we talked about how there are so many missing people. You know, there's that missing 411 that's all about people going missing in national parks. Well, did you know that there is a serial killer in prison awaiting execution for murdering people in national parks?
No.
Well, there is. His name is Gary Hilton. This is Gary.
Oh, God. He's not chilling.
He is very chilling. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about Gary. Gary is known as the National Forest serial killer. And his reign of terror that we know of began in 2007. He was born in 1946. And there are several deaths that we don't know for sure that are sort of attributed to him, but he hasn't been arrested for. So he has 4 murders all happening in national forests already, but there are several others. So he's sentenced to death in Florida and life in prison in Georgia and North Carolina.
Wow.
So his first murder that we are sure of was October 21st of 2007. He killed an elderly couple, John and Irene Bryant. They were in their 80s and they were hiking in the Pisgah National Forest.
Oh my God.
And they were missing for about 2 weeks before they were reported missing. They were out hiking, and so family didn't necessarily know.
Mm-hmm.
They went looking for them, and at one point Irene actually called 911 from her cell phone, but the call was dropped, and so they never got through on anything. On November 10th of 2007, her body was found at the Barnett Branch Trail covered in leaves. And on February 3rd of 2008, a hunter found a skull in the Nantahala National Forest. And that turned out to be John Bryant. So,
oh, wow.
Right. So what happened is he killed Irene, and then he took John on a tour of ATMs, making him withdraw as much money as he could get from them, so that he was robbing them. Like, that was the main reason. But it seems that he was hip to the whole idea that we have talked about a lot, that national parks are a pretty scary place because it would be an easy place to hide a body. So then on December 3rd of 2007, so I mean, he's really on a roll here. It was October, then December. 46-year-old Cheryl Dunlap, who was from Crawford, Florida, didn't show up for work one day. People thought that was weird. She usually did. And so she was reported missing. And they found her car. It was a Toyota Camry. And they did find it. And then there was a big search for her in the, I'm going to try to say this correctly. This is a hard one. The Apalachicola National Forest. On December 16th, there was a hunter that had dogs with him. They discovered a decapitated body. Cheryl.
Oh my God.
They did confirm her through DNA, and her ATM card had been used 5 times in Tallahassee.
Big surprise.
$700 from her account. Yeah. So then we have Meredith Emerson. This was on New Year's Day of 2008. Meredith went on a hike on the Freeman Trail on Blood Mountain, which is in Vogel State Park. And apparently some people saw her. She was with her dog, and there was an older man following her in the park.
Oh.
And on January 3rd, they found a 1995 Chevy Cavalier that had stuff in it that belonged to her. Her water bottle, her dog's leash, a police baton. I don't know if that was hers or if that was Gary's. But so they did discover that the person that was following her was Gary Hilton. He was known as a local drifter with weird behavior and a scary temper.
Oh.
And he walked his dog along that trail.
Oh, boy.
So they did announce him as a person of interest in that case. And then they found her dog wandering around in a Kreuper parking lot. It's like he'd kept the dog. Yeah, he'd kept the dog.
Oh.
Well, they also found her body, parts of her body, bloody clothes, her ID, a bunch of stuff were found in a dumpster in that area.
Okay. Oh, God.
So he was, let's see. He was originally arrested and charged with Emerson's death. And he was given life for that. He was trying to avoid the death penalty, basically. But once he'd been charged with, let's see, sorry, it's 3 different states, and so it gets really confusing. But ultimately, he had been trying to avoid the death penalty, but eventually was convicted.
Yeah.
In a death penalty state. So he's convicted in 3 different states. So it's very confusing. But so the FBI was all over him. They were, the profilers really wanted to talk to him because they're like, what the hell, you know? They don't believe for 1 minute that these were his only murders.
Nah.
He started killing in 2007. He was born in 1946. They're like, how? Nobody waits that long. He actually did shoot and try to kill his stepdad when he was like 13.
Oh, wow.
But he didn't kill him. But he did spend some time in a psychiatric facility over that. And kind of lived homeless and transient, just kind of moving around for most of his life. He was married several times, could never maintain a relationship. But they believe that his earliest victim was Judy Smith. She was killed in September of 1997. They found her personal items and things scattered in a campsite at Pisgah National Forest.
Oh.
Yeah. So then they also think that a man named Jason Knapp, who disappeared in 1998 at Table Rock State Park in Pickens County, South Carolina, who has now been declared legally dead. They did not find his body, but the situation around his death was really similar, and so they do think that Gary Hilton killed him. There's Rosanna Miliani from Miami. People actually saw her in the company of an older white man. They were buying backpacks from a convenience store.
Oh, boy.
They were headed out backpacking. Yeah. And then Michael Scott Lewis, and that was November 21st of 2007. And his remains were found. He was dismembered. And his remains were found. But they do think that he
was all track.
Yeah. Too. He won't admit to anything else, and he is still on death row.
Wow.
In Florida. So we don't know, but we do know that we, in fact, for sure do have a national park serial killer.
Wow.
In 2018, he tried to get his death sentence overturned, saying that his defense team was dysfunctional and ineffective, but that was denied. So he's still awaiting execution. He's been awaiting execution for quite a while now, 15-ish years. So
wow.
now we know there may be others, but it is a question about
Mhm.
how many serial killers are operating in national parks. Well,
Mhm.
pretty good evidence that there are at least some.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you. That is wild.
Yeah, he's a creepy dude.
Well, guys, this is Wednesday, so we'll be back tonight. Actually, Kristi will with Kate's updates. And then
Yes.
she's going to be back Thursday night for the psychic hour. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so Katie will be off softball momming it. So
Mhm.
my friend, Dr. JJ Kelly, who is an emotional intelligence expert. She's a psychologist and a great friend of mine. And she's also
Mhm.
been working with me on some energy healing. So we're going to talk about energy intelligence and emotional intelligence and how those things connect. And you guys are going to love JJ. She's super funny. So
Yeah,
you'll want to tune in for that.
it's gonna be great.
Yes, it is.
All righty. Well, like, share, follow, subscribe. What do you say? All those things.
Comments, all of the above.
Comment. Yep, we appreciate all of your support very much. Thank you so much. This has been yet another production of True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Take care.
Bye, everybody.